Excuse me. Good morning on behalf of the Operation Rock Rescuing Our Communities podcast. I am Clayton here, and today we got a pretty interesting one here, people. Today's topic and continuing our narrative, exposing the corruption and the misconduct within the Staten Island District Attorney's Office and the NYPD of Staten Island singularly. Today, we're going to highlight something different than what happened with myself and the one Francina Evans, my ex-girlfriend who was stalking me and who the district attorney and NYPD of Staten Island refused to honor my federally protected final restraining order that prevented this woman from continuing to harass me, stalk me, or make any attempts to contact my actual child, my infant child. However, yesterday I kind of got into a little, I wouldn't even say it was a little online debate. It was somebody who I consider to be a good friend to my family, I guess, trying to help me. I want to say this person was trying to help me become aware of the fact that she felt people didn't care about the situation. And she may be right, maybe that's the problem with the way the communities have become now, that enough people don't care about things like this when people are set up by the police, or you find out that your local prosecutor's office may be corrupt. And I think that's a problem as a whole, people. I think as a whole, we should not, as people, we shouldn't as a whole, ignore issues like this when it comes to prosecutor misconduct, police corruption, community advocate corruption, etc. It's really important overall that we acknowledge and we address prosecutor misconduct, advocate misconduct, ministerial misconduct, because that's possible also, ladies and gentlemen. We can't ignore it overall as a community, because if you ignore it, the problem doesn't go away. It compounds itself, and then you have a place where your children aren't safe, and neither are the people in your family. So today we're going to deviate from the issue with my ex-girlfriend, because it's not only about her, people. The issue of injustice within the Staten Island District Attorney's Office is far more expanded than my ex-girlfriend. I want to take you back to, I think it's December 19th of 2022. That's where we're going to, actually, you know what? Let's begin our podcast with discussing who this podcast is about. I think that's even better. I think that's a better way to begin this podcast. We should begin with the star in mind. So today we will be. Oh, come on. Are you serious? All right. I'm sorry, people. I have to delete some things out of my software. It's not letting me do it because I have too much. And I guess I have exceeded the limit with my last few days of presentations, which is understandable. So I should be good to do this now. Yes, I am. So bear with me one moment, my beautiful audience. Today's topic, we will be exposing one individual who I feel is a major catalyst in why the District Attorney's Office of Staten Island felt they were able to violate my civil rights. Because it didn't all begin with Francina Evans, audience. It began long before Francina Evans. It began before the death of my mother, probably in December of 2019. It began with a relationship between a woman by the name of Gwendolyn Carr, who I want to introduce my audience to, because Gwendolyn Carr is a significant part of this story. Therefore, I definitely think she should be we should see what I'm trying to show our audience. All right, let's minimize it. Maybe it'll come back up. Yes. No. Come on. Come on. What's going on with this thing tonight? Come on. I don't know why it's taking so long today, people. It should go. Before I begin my narrative, I kind of got to get this started. So, unfortunately, I did realize something though in preparing for this podcast. I cannot show Gwendolyn Carr's complete police report because it's under seal from the Supreme Court of Richmond County. See, that's another way that prosecutors hide their misconduct. When they're caught, they do what it's called, they seal the record. And they'll seal the record immediately because they don't want a reporter or an investigator or another lawyer to look into this misconduct, just be able to freely look into the misconduct, with a simple FOIL request. They want to make it a little more difficult for you to access the record. So what they'll do is seal the record, so you have to go before a judge to get it unsealed to be able to see what they actually did in the investigation. So unfortunately, the actual police report that Gwen Carr filed, I can't show the whole police report because it's been sealed. But I can, as the defendant and as the person who Gwendolyn Carr relied on, I can tell you and I can show you the copy. I can read the copy that my attorney sent to me. So I will read Gwen Carr's statement, but I'm actually going to show you guys a picture to show you the truth that it's under seal so you know I am in possession of it. And like I told you, documents don't lie. People lie within documents. And your job as a conscious individual, as an individual who cares about your life, your freedom, and your socioeconomic status is to be able to prove the lies that people present within documents they use against you. Now, Gwendolyn Carr is, Gwendolyn Carr. Who is Gwendolyn Carr? Gwendolyn Carr is the mother of the late Eric Garner. And Eric Garner was a man who was unfortunately killed by the NYPD. I will definitely say they are responsible for his death, even though the situation is a lot more complex than the general public, may be led to believe. The NYPD is definitely responsible for the death of Eric Garner, and I'm going to explain why. Now, Gwendolyn Carr is Eric Garner's mother. And as the mother of Eric Garner, she has stepped up within her community and her local circle to attempt to advocate and speak against the death of Eric Garner, to speak against wrongful arrest and wrongful imprisonment and the rights of Black men before law enforcement and when law enforcement deals with them. Gwen's efforts have been extensive, people. She has become a national spokeswoman to speak up against the rights of mothers whose children were wronged by the police. Therefore, her image as a woman of integrity and a woman of truth has become paramount before the public because she's a woman whose son's life was taken by the police. So one would think her integrity was so high as a woman. I won't even say a Black woman, ladies and gentlemen. I'll say as a woman. As a God-fearing woman who claims to be a Christian, we would think that Gwen would have possessed enough integrity to be honest and just in her dealings with law enforcement in the community as a whole. I'm actually going to get back to this picture, people, because I have some words about this one. But overall, Eric Garner has been around and been the puppet of people like Al Sharpton and District Attorney Michael McMahon and a lot of Black politicians and advocates and political figures who want to make it seem as though they are connected to the community. So they're behind Gwen Carr because everyone thinks, Gwen Carr's son was wrongfully killed by the police for just a random incident that the police were 100% wrong for. The truth of the Eric Garner story, again, is far more complicated than that because Eric Garner had some complicity in his own death, not to say anything wrong about it. Because people, unlike a lot of people who talk about Eric Garner, I actually knew Eric Garner. Unfortunately, even though I was a rather intelligent kid and I was in college, I did like to hang around and I did like to keep urban influences around me. So yes, it was a time where I was a street pharmacist. When I was much younger, in my teens and early 20s, etc., I did these type of things to keep money in my pocket. So a little unknown secret that I've never really talked about is I was actually across the street the day Eric Garner was killed in front of the check cashing that this happened. I believe it was a check cashing at the time. I can't remember if it was a check casher or a beauty store, but it was a really messed up day. I remember that. So I wasn't right there when the whole situation happened, but I was across the street because like a lot of actual street guys who are in the drug game or what you want to call hustlers, we're smart enough to know that when the jump out boys come around, you go the other way. You don't argue with them and stand your ground, especially if this is not your damn property. So if a cop come around, let's say hypothetically I was selling weed on the block, and the cop come around and be like, yo, get out of here. People, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm not gonna argue with him because I know I'm out there doing wrong. So why would I argue with a man if I know I'm doing wrong? This was kind of unfortunately the situation with Eric Garner. Eric Garner was kind of approached selling cigarettes. He didn't want to move because he felt the cops was harassing him. He stood his ground. He's a big guy. Eric Garner was what, 6'2", 6'5", maybe 250, close to 300 pounds. Eric was a big dude. So it's kind of understandable how these white officers on Staten Island who already have complexes against strong black, big black, strong men, they already like, no disrespect to the white officers in Staten Island, but they not fighters. They cowards. They jump you. They pussies. They not guys that's going to sit there and square up with you like some cops in Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, the Bronx. They'll give you a fair one. They'll fight you, some of them detectives. Staten Island cops is not fighting you. They don't got no hands. They have the ability to jump you with steel-toe boots and beat you up when they got you locked up in the precinct or somewhere else. Everybody knows Staten Island cops ain't giving you no fair one because the truth is they can't fight. A lot of them is old pussies who went to the police department and got badges because they used to be pussies. And what do ex-pussies do? They get power through law enforcement to I would say impose that form of cowardice on other people. I strongly believe this. I don't believe everyone who goes into law enforcement is someone who is truly just. A lot of people who go into law enforcement are cowards who want to get back at people, and that's just the simple truth. Um, so you have this big man resisting police, and he was resistant, people. We just have to be honest. And I'm not saying this stuff to diminish Eric Garner at all. I'm not. I knew him. Eric Garner was a good-hearted guy. He was not a street guy at all. He wanted to be tough like a street guy, but he was a teddy bear. He was a big guy. He used to sell his little cigarettes in front of the store. Eric was a teddy bear. He wasn't somebody that you really needed to fear at all. So I personally can't understand why these police went that far, but I guess in the situation, as men, your adrenaline going, you as adrenaline, you as a man, you want to be domineering. I've been in the situation with guys where I had to snatch them up and throw them in headlocks, and you want to show them like, yeah, I'm strong, get out. So after watching the Eric Garner video, you kind of realize that the police officer, although he threw him in the chokehold, that's not really why he was wrong. He was wrong when he got Eric Garner to the floor and pinned his chest to the floor and turned his head to the side that cut off his breathing paths. That's actually what killed Eric Garner, not the chokehold. The officer did have to restrain him because Eric was resisting arrest, but then he did stop and resist arrest because he put his hands up and he was chilling. He wasn't fighting back. He wasn't swinging. And I personally believe that even though this officer, um, he beat a Supreme Court indictment, and that they declined, to indict him in the Supreme Court of Richmond County, and also the feds declined to indict him. It really doesn't mean that he wasn't guilty. He 100% was guilty for killing Eric Garner, because the chokehold restrained him, that cut off his breathing path, and when he put him on the floor and pinned him down, he never had the opportunity to recover his breath. He wasn't in the best health. I think he had asthma or something like that too, and I think he also had heart disease. So Eric Garner wasn't in the best health, and these officers' actions did kill him. One would think that Eric Garner's mother, Gwendolyn Carr, from that experience would realize that the dangers faced by a black man when you're put in a position with police who are not going to respect your rights overall, like they did to her son. That's not Gwendolyn Carr, people. Gwendolyn Carr is a pretender. She is not authentic, people. She's a complete pathological liar. And I'm not only going to say she's a liar to me, she's a liar to the community, people, because she has never come forward with the truth about what has happened with she and I. She has talked a bunch of crap about me behind my back. She actually aided my ex-girlfriend in her attempts to hurt me because Gwendolyn Carr was saying that I, Clayton Howard, stole her van, her ex-husband, Benjamin Carr's van, and I never returned it. So let's get to Benjamin Carr, because Ben was my boy. This was the late Mr. Benjamin Carr, who I actually was very, very cool with. He was always at my mother's church. He would make food. He would make turkeys on Thanksgiving. Benjamin Carr was a man's man. He was an excellent man, a model man, someone who you would not mind to call your friend. Fortunately, his wife is not that way. His wife is an incredibly duplicitous and deceitful woman. So Mr. Benjamin Carr passed, I believe it was 2019. Oh, God, don't get me wrong. I hope it was 2019. Sometime around July, I think it was, or June, he may have passed in 2019, which was really shocking because I didn't think Benjamin Carr was going to pass. And for him to suddenly pass the way he was, my mother and myself was affected because he was both friends of ours. So I think it was maybe December. Matter of fact, I know it was December of 2019. I stopped by my mother's church because someone hit my car, and I had a business as I'm trying to X myself up to enlarge myself. I was an independent contractor throughout Philadelphia, New Jersey, and New York, and I had renovation projects in Philadelphia. So my truck had got damaged that I was using to send a crew of guys to Philadelphia. So what I decided to do was go rent a car from Enterprise. I walk in my mother's church. I think it was December 19th, a matter of fact, because I'm thinking about the date from the text messages I'm about to show you between myself and Gwen Carr. So I go to my mother and we're just talking, and she says, I'm telling her I'm about to go to Enterprise and rent a car. She says, you know something, you're about to spend all that money on renting a car. Why don't you give it to Miss Carr? You know, she really needs the money. And she may not really need the money. That's what my mother said. But it's always nice. She's older. She don't work, and she still has Benjamin's van. She don't use it. I believe she's looking to sell it. So I said, yeah, Mom, what kind of van is it? And she says, what does it matter? You giving it to other people for them to drive to Philadelphia. Just make sure they got a license and make sure the car is good. And, be honest with her. Tell her what you're doing. If she approves, give her the money. So normally I would have said no, people, but it was my mother giving me an advice. And if anybody who knows my mother, you remember she had a way to talk to you to convince you that people could be good people and give them a chance. So this is what I did. I gave Gwendolyn Carr a chance. I decided, you know what, Ma, okay, call her. Ma says, my mother reaches out to her. She talks to Gwendolyn Carr, tells her I'm about to go to Enterprise on Bay Street and rent a van. And Gwen is gung-ho to rent me her van. And she says, yeah, give your son my number. Absolutely, I'll rent Clayton your van. No problem. So people, what we're going to do now, so we can kind of start this off, this presentation, is we're going to show those text messages and show you the conversation between myself and Gwendolyn Carr. So what's that about? Okay, 1 second. It's coming up, people. So my mother, the late, great, infinitely amazing Reverend Dr. Maggie Howard, connects me back to Gwen Carr, who I've known for years. I've probably known Gwen Carr for 15 years at this time. And she says, okay, baby, go ahead. Talk to Miss Gwen. Here's her number. Call her. So now, people, as you see, I reach out to Gwendolyn Carr on December 12th of 2019. I said, hey, this is Reverend Howard's son, Clayton. I spelled it wrong. I might have dyslexia, people. I do this all the time with words. It'd be like an X there, B there. I don't know what that's about. Oh, God, excuse me. Let me move that because I didn't even realize that was there. I'm sorry, people. I have to move that page because it had a date there. I'm actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to minimize it and I'm going to read it to you myself because I didn't see that it actually had an address there. That was a mistake. I don't want her to say I did something on purpose. So hold on. Okay, let me just adjust this, people, so I can read it to you and not read you anything that compromises her because that's definitely not my intent. This is Reverend Howard's son, Clayton. Please give me a call. Miss Carr sends me her address. Hey, I tell Miss Carr that I'll actually come to her now. I wish I could show you this so you could see that on December 12th, myself and Miss Carr had this conversation. So on December 1st, I spoke to Gwendolyn Carr. She tells me she agrees to give me the car. She tells me her address to come get the car. And when I tell her I'm on the way and I can be there in 20 minutes, she gives me her apartment number. I say, okay. I go to the house. I text her. I'm telling them I'm there. She asked me, can I get in the building? I said no. She says she's coming down. She gives me the van. After I leave, she texts me and tells me she forgot the Easy Pass in the car and asked me, am I planning to leave Staten Island? And people, I say no, I'm not planning to leave Staten Island. But I'll bring you back the Easy Pass. People, I do bring her back this Easy Pass, and I want you to know that. So let me go to my other screen. Let me go to this screen. So now you see, people, this is December 16th, me talking to Miss Carr. Hey, can Hold on. What do I say now? I'm texting Gwendolyn Carr on December 16th of 2019 to let her know that my truck will be ready tomorrow and I'll bring her back the car. She tells me okay, but people, when I'm ready to bring her back the car, Miss Carr talks to me about buying the car from her. So I didn't have a problem buying the van from her because people, like she's a cool old lady. I definitely had love for her husband. I actually had love for Gwen. I'm not even gonna lie. I thought Miss Gwendolyn Carr was an amazingly dope woman. I'm not gonna lie, people. My relationship with Gwen Carr became affected after I realized what she did to me because I know this woman. Look what I had her saved in my phone, my car. We were actually friends. I was shocked when Gwendolyn Carr did what she did to me. So as you see, she makes me an offer to buy the car, and I say okay. But at the time, I think she wanted $2,000 in total, and I didn't have $2,000. It was around Christmas. I was paying a bunch of people. I really didn't have it to drop to her. So we kind of made an agreement that every couple of weeks I would give her $500 or $600, and that would be cool. When I picked up the car, I gave her $500. When I agreed to buy this car and I dealt with her here, I gave her another $500. Um, and I think I missed one payment because the car's alternator and the alternator, the battery, and something else on the car went bad. So I had to get it fixed. So as you see on December 24th, I'm letting her know that I'll be back early because I had to bring her money the day before Christmas, people. I bought Gwendolyn Carr $600 the day before Christmas. Christmas, yeah. Christmas is the 25th. Christmas Eve, I bought Gwendolyn Carr at 7:15, 7:30, I bought her $500. So far, she has the $500 deposit for the car. She has the $500 I bought her before Christmas for the car. She asked me did I put transmission fluid in the car because I got the car fixed. The battery, the alternator, the water pump. It was those three things. It cost me about $800 to get a local mechanic to drive out to where my guys broke down in this van, but because the van broke down in transport. So I had to call a mobile mechanic I know to drive out to these guys who was parked on the Jersey Turnpike and fix this van. And to tow them off the turnpike in his car and fix this van on the side of the road, which he was capable of doing because of the basic things that happened. So Gwen Carr knew that I had already got it fixed and invested $800 myself to put all of this new stuff in, and she was checking to make sure that I made sure he added transmission fluid to it. Cool, no problem. As you see, I said yes, we added it. Now we're gonna go forward. This one's a little small. I might have to read this one out, but I'm gonna leave it here. For those of you who are interested, you can zoom in and you'll see that it says January. I'll tell you right now, it says that date, that's the third slide. That date is January 22nd, people. Now, my cell phone screen had broke for a while. And I think I owed her $100 because I was supposed to give her $600, but I only gave her $5. So this is what I tell. No matter of fact, I was making a payment. Exactly. She calls me January 19th because I was late with my payment. But I was late with my payment because I couldn't see my phone because my cell phone broke, screen broke, excuse me, and I couldn't contact Gwen. So when my screen was good, I contact her exactly. I think this is 3 days later, and I says, "Hey, my screen was broke. I see your text about the 100. I didn't know we had a balance as we never had a price, but I'll give you the 100 personally today as I want to talk. I get off around 5. I'm coming to Staten Island." She tells me she was downstairs listening to me talk to Joe when he told you the money was short by $100. So she's letting me know that the money I sent her was short $100 and she want her money. This is what this text is about. She wants $100. Cash App her right now. So don't say you don't know. And you was supposed to call, you never did. Like please stop playing games. So she's checking me because she wants this $100. This is important, people, because Gwen Carr lied to the NYPD and told them that my name was Clayton Howard, a family friend who she only knew by first name, and that I had taken her keys and she hadn't heard from me since December 12th of 2019. Now, people, we're in January and I've made 3 payments to Gwendolyn Carr. So that lie, that report to the NYPD is a lie. If Gwendolyn Carr is telling them she only knows me by first name, and my first name is Clayton Howard. I'm going to show you how she lied in 3 instances. One, she knows my name is Clayton Howard, not just Clayton, because she knows I'm the son of Reverend Maggie Howard, who she knows by last name because everybody knew who Reverend Maggie Howard was. So she had a last name to connect to me other than lying in this police report. The next thing that she lied about is she told them I took her keys and never returned the car. No, the truth was, as you saw from the text, she called me to her house, gave me the address, and gave me the keys after I gave her a deposit. Now, the third part of the lie is that she told the police she hadn't heard from me in months. So this is why she was there filing criminal charges against me. People, I'm showing you a text message from January 19th where Gwendolyn Carr is beefing with me about $100. So as you see, I respond in the bottom of this January 22nd message, and I'm like, that's not a balance. That money I was giving you, and I've given you about $1,000. Who's playing games? People, I'm telling her this, lady, what are you talking about? I've given you over $1,000. How am I playing games with you? People, this woman gave me a 2004. Oh my God, what kind of van with this? People, forgive the language because you know I'm on something where I'm trying to not use profanity. It was a piece of shit. It was like one of those old blue Mexican vans where you see the Mexican construction workers go and 18 of them get out the van. It was one of that. The book value of the van was less than $1,000. Her husband paid like $400 from it from the sheriff auction that was off Bay Street on Staten Island. And I know because the day he went there, I went with him. So basically, Gwen made a profit off the car already, but she's such a deceitful, greedy, lying woman. She's pressing me about $100. But mind you, people, she lied to the police and told the police on December 12th, I took this key. She never told the police that she was in a financial relationship with me for the car. And if she was in a financial relationship with me before the car wasn't stolen. Let's keep going, though, people. This is sick that Gwendolyn Carr did this. And as you see, people, she pretends to be this good and righteous woman. She's really not. So hold on. I'm going to go to the next slide. Hold on. I got to show you the next slide. I got to get back to the screen. Because, people, this is not about embarrassing Gwen Carr. This is about exposing the truth. And the truth is that Gwen Carr lied on it. Okay. Yes, it is. This is January 15th. 3:26 p.m. Now, people, so far, I've given her over $1,000. This is another $600, people. I'm having $600 brought to you in 3 hours. I'm at work, but I will call you tonight and we can talk. But you blank something of money before 6. I talked to my mom. I'm sorry. I meant no ill will because my mom told me, Gwen called my mother and told my mother I got disrespectful with her. People, you saw that message. I wasn't. But I didn't like to argue with my mother, so my mother told me Gwen said that. Gwen is 70 years old. People, I just said, you know what, whatever. I contacted her, said I apologized, even though I didn't do anything wrong to her. I apologized regardless, and I sent her $600. Now, people, if you look under this, it's the same date. It's January 15th. Excuse me, it wasn't the 16th. No, that is the 16th. I'm sorry, people. It's 6:15. It's 3 hours later, exactly like I told Gwendolyn Carr. 3 hours later, hey, Joe is downstairs in front with your 600. He's in front of the building. Okay, I'm going down. I'm off at 9. If you have my word, I will call you and bring back the van also. So I was going to bring it back because I was tired of this, people. I had given this woman $1,600 and she's pressing me like I'm a punk for this money. But when I go see her this night, people, she tells me to keep the van. She wants me to buy it. That's not the problem. She really needed some extra money. So she just needed the extra money. She was stressed out. So people, I keep the damn van, even though she did this. Now, my mother told me after Gwendolyn did this. God bless my mother. She was so wise, people. After this happened with me on January 17th, my mother told me, Clayton, I think you should bring her back that car. Because if you paying her all this money, why is she doing this? So, people, here we are. I reached out to her, I think it was January 17th. And I said, you know something? Something happened to the van because something did happen to the van. I think it got into one of the guys had an accident with it. So I didn't want her to have a beat up van. So I ended up buying a hood something. I told her I'll call her like 1 o'clock. So now we in February, people. The car is fixed, but she wants another payment from me, people. No problem. I said, okay. Hold on. We got to go somewhere else first because I got to go to a statement because I started calling her instead of texting her because texting her wasn't working. She was being mad disrespectful in the text. So let's go to Gwendolyn Carr and let's go to the statement of Joseph Williams. There we go. This is the statement given to the Richmond County District Attorney's Office by the man Joseph Williams, who bought her the first $600 and who also bought her the next $500 when Joseph Williams and my mother went to her building off Bay Street and paid her this money because she sent me the text that I'm about to read you in the next screen when we go back. Let's go back. So this is something that was sent to the Richmond County District Attorney's Office by my mother's former aide, Joseph Williams. And it says, "My name is Joseph Williams, and the reason I am writing this letter is to confirm that on January 15th of 2020, I met with Gwen Carr and handed her $500 as payment towards the vehicle Gwen Carr had loaned him during the middle of December 2019. I met with Gwen Carr at her home on the January date above and passed her the money Clayton had given me earlier that day to deliver to her because when tired, she was not available to receive. Oh, because when he tried, she was not available to see. Clayton came to me at Stapleton UAME Church, where I work as an aide for the late Reverend Dr. Maggie Howard. I can also confirm that 1 month later, he's not sure of the date, but it was February 16th. I completely remember because it was 2 weeks before Gwen had me arrested for stealing this car. But it was after Valentine's Day. So see, people, after Valentine's Day, I just told you it was February 16th. He says he doesn't remember the date, but I and Reverend Maggie M. Howard walked to Gwen Carr's building on Bay Street by Family Dollar and delivered $500 Clayton had left with his mother as he was on assignment in Philadelphia and was having trouble meeting up with Gwen Carr. Reverend Howard and I met with Gwen, and Reverend Howard passed Gwen the funds, and they talked for a few minutes. And we walked back to Stapleton Church. At no time during either conversation did Gwen Carr seem stressed over missing the car. She was pleased both times after I passed her the money, and when I witnessed Reverend Howard pass her the money Clayton had left to her. So this statement is the man who literally passed Gwen Carr money 2 days after Valentine's Day. Let's go back to this. So as I just showed you, 2 days after Valentine's Day, an aide from my late mother's church with my late mother went to Gwen Carr and bought her another $500. So people, so far we're at $2,000. Let's keep going. Okay. So people, she's contacted me on the 12th and asked me, am I going to pay tolls because she needs to register her car. Now people, the beginning of February, I start getting calls from Gwen Carr telling me that I think there was a few $100 toll bill because some of the tolls the guys hadn't paid driving the fan to Philadelphia. Now, people, I had no problem paying the tolls. Clearly, I had no problem. I was already $2,000 paid in with her. So why would I have a problem paying a couple $100 tolls if I actually acquired them? So what I asked Miss Gwendolyn Carr is, Miss Carr, can you just send me the itemized receipt so I can confirm it and I can get my business to pay for it? But Gwen Carr refused to do that, people. Gwen Carr would not send me that toll bill. And I asked for months. For weeks, people, hey, Gwen, can you send me the bill? I contact my mother. Ma, listen, can you have Gwen send me this bill? Because she's talking about tolls, but she won't send me the bill so I can confirm that these guys did the tolls. Gwen would never send me the bill. So now, finally, people, we go to February 29th at 10 a.m. People, I'm at Stapleton Church, my mother's old church. Hold on. I'm going to minimize the screen real quick so you can see me, then I'll get back to the story. So I'm at Stapleton UAME Church, the church of the late Reverend Maggie Howard. My uncle Harold Wise had I want to say it was a class with the Eagle Academy because him as a sergeant and a couple of officers used to grab kids every weekend, bring them over to the basement of Stapleton Church with the Eagle program that was from, I believe, IS-49 or the other schools on Staten Island. So I'm there watching my uncle's class. One of my workers, he's not even my worker, a friend of mine who works with me, comes to me and says, Clay, there's a police van parked next to the blue van that's outside, that's in front of the rehabilitation center. And it's just been sitting there for a while. So now people not suspecting any criminality, because again, I've paid Gwen Carr thousands of dollars for this car. She knows I have the car, people. I just paid her 2 weeks ago. So I'm not believing that the cops is there for the van, but I'm curious why they've been there so long. But I didn't think about it, people. At that one, that the first time he told me I didn't think about it, I just said so, and I kind of went on about it. But then he came back about 10 minutes later. He said, Clay, they still there. Yo, I think something's up. So I said, really? I said, okay, I go outside to the officer. So people, I'm not in the van I got arrested for a stolen car. And I was never in the van. I wasn't driving the van. They didn't see me bring the van. I didn't even have the key to the damn van, people. Someone else had the key to the van, and the officer saw me go to the person and get the key because I didn't have the key. I wasn't driving the car. So anyway, I walk up to this officer and I say, hey, officer, there's a problem. I don't think it's nothing wrong, people. I've been paying Gwen Carr for this car. I showed you. The cop says, yeah, we drove by and we got a BOLO alert. Now, a BOLO alert is when they drive by and the license plate comes up from being stolen. So when he explained to me what a BOLO alert is, I said, that's impossible. I know the owner of this car. He said, who are you? I said, I'm Clayton Howard. He said, how do you know the owner of the car? I said, she's a friend of the family. She's been loaning me the car for months. Her name is Gwendolyn Carr. I'll call her. So now, people, I go, let's go back. I text Gwendolyn Carr, and I don't know why I said I got a call. Maybe I was just a little annoyed because the police was there. And I said, they telling me your plate came up stolen. It was parked by the church. No one was even in it. But I'll bring you the key, because I didn't know at that time they was trying to arrest me. I'm like, yo, hold the fuck on. I'm not playing with that game. Like, I'll bring you this key. Like, don't play games with me. I said, I don't know why, as I haven't even spoken to you, and it's been parked here by the church. Now, the reason it was parked by the church, which Gwen Carr knew, people, is because the van had an accident for her. So she knew literally I was waiting for the same guy who fixed the alternator to come fix it again. And I can show you text from that mechanic. Gwen Carr 100% aware that I was waiting for this mechanic to come fix her car, to give her back the car completely. And she gave it to me because, like I told you, as soon as I got the car, the alternator, the battery, I was giving her the car back with new water pump, new alternator, new battery, plus a new hood, and any structure that she would have claimed I did. I was willing to leave, because I was kind of tired of paying her. I felt like she was extorting me. She wouldn't give me a final price for the van. 2 or 3 weeks and demand $500 or $600, like I'm showing you in text message, people, and I paid her. So now, people, she texts me back. She can't talk. She'll call me in 10 minutes. And I'm standing in front of the damn police. The police are telling me the car is stolen. Gwen does not call me back. I'm telling her, listen, I wasn't in that van. It was parked. But did you file a report for it being stolen? And because that's what they're saying. I know I did not steal that, as it's not. Like, people, I know I didn't steal your van, Gwendolyn Carr. How I steal your van and you gave me the damn van? What are they talking about? People, Gwen has no answer for me. Hold on. Oh, this is Joseph's letter. So, people, Gwen has no answer for me. She has no answer. She never asks me. She never answers me. And as you can probably deduce, me and the gentleman are arrested for this van, for being in possession of stolen property or unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. That's what we were arrested for. Now, I'm going to show you something else. Because remember, Gwendolyn Carr said that I owed her $100, and she was mad I didn't give her this $100. Well, people, it turns out I actually did, people. I sent Gwendolyn Carr the $100, and I have a Cash App receipt to prove it. This is the Cash App receipt to Gwendolyn Carr. From the time that I sent her the $100, she's claiming I owed her when she said she heard Joe downstairs. Don't lie. You know you owe me $100, people. Here is me sending her that $100 on January 28th. So now, people, here's the thing. And I think this is really, really, really important to say about Gwendolyn Carr. If Gwendolyn Carr filed a police report which stated that she didn't know my last name, she barely knew me, she had given me a car, and I had taken the car, and she hadn't heard from me in months after numerous attempts to ask me to return the car, basically she told the NYPD I stole her car. So in fairness to the NYPD, the arrest of me and this gentleman is justified. They had a victim alleging we stole this car, and this victim stuck to that story. So the officers didn't care about my text message. That's not their job. Their job is to arrest. And these plainclothes officers, they arrest me. These uniform officers, excuse me, they arrested me and this gentleman. Now, when they detained me and this gentleman, they go through my iPhone. This arresting officer, I believe his name was Officer Vega. He goes to my iPhone and he finds the text message with Gwendolyn Carr. And he realizes, oh crap, this guy paid her. She's lying. But people, you know how it works on Staten Island. Black men can't be victims. We can only be offenders. So this idiot, biased, unjust cop continues the arrest of me and this gentleman, even though he knew from a search of my phone, from my text history of Gwendolyn Carr, that I had been paying Gwendolyn Carr for the car. Now, people, how does the Richmond County District Attorney's Office have to do with this? Because they are also a topic of the conversation. As you can see, I was arrested on February 28th of 2020. I was arrested. What I need to mention is within 60 to 90 days, I want to say 60 days, the pandemic hit. So once the pandemic hit, the New York court process went slow to like a standstill. So, the case kind of got delayed. But in the course of the pandemic, as many people who know me, Reverend Howard died, which was horribly traumatic for me, people. And I want to say that it completely decimated me emotionally and spiritually, people. I was a very, very broken man after the death of my mother because I found her. It was kind of fucked up, people. I'm trying not to curse, but the way I found my mother was definitely fucked up. It was nobody, a man who is a member of a church community that claims to love him and support the pastor and the family. I should not have had to find my mother the way I found my mother. Reverend Buford Carter is the one who found my mother first. He lies to me and tells me my mother fell down the stairs and tells me to come to our house. So people, I jump up from the middle of Brooklyn and race to Staten Island thinking my mother just broke her leg or something like that. I get to the church, I get to the door is locked. So this coward Reverend Buford Carter goes in the church after calling me, telling me my mother's dead, my mother's leg is hurt, knowing she's dead in her house. He goes in the church and locks the door because he's too weak. He's too much of a weak, pathetic excuse for a man to be strong enough to help Reverend Howard's son through probably the worst trauma he's about to go through in the next 30 seconds of his life when he goes next door and sees his mother atrophied body on the fucking floor. This coward hid inside the church and locked the door. So people, I go next door, find my mother, I'm messed up. Naturally, over the next years, people, I'm going to say honestly, I didn't start coming out of grief with my mother for probably 2.5 years. And I had to because of what Francina Evans and her mother was doing. I had to wake the hell up and say, Clayton, you got to get it together or you're going to end up in prison because this girl and her mother's acting. And that kind of helped me get out of it. But about 2.5 years, people, I grieved. And the Richmond County Prosecutor's Office prosecuted me the entire time. As you see, Mike McMahon was close to my mother. He knew my mother. But Mike McMahon also knew that Gwendolyn Carr framed me because I had sent evidence to the office with all the text messages that completely proved that Gwendolyn Carr and Clayton Howard knew each other much longer than she claimed. I had text messages from her late husband from 2 or 3 years before that I gave to the DA to establish the fact that I, Clayton Howard, knew the Garner family very well. I knew Eric Garner people. I knew them all. But the DA's office of Staten Island doesn't drop cases against black men. It prosecutes them. And their primary weapon once they're exposed for maliciously prosecuting or falsely arresting a black man is to try to ACD the case and tell you that this is the only way it can get dismissed. Before I became more legally competent after Francina Evans, this is what I believed. And this is what they ultimately gave me for Gwendolyn Carr by abusing my grief over the death of my mother to drag out a prosecution so long that I would just want to get over it and take the ACD. They refused to drop the case, even though they knew I wasn't driving the car. They knew I wasn't in the car when I was arrested. They knew I cooperated, walked up to the officer and gave the officer the key from someone else I took it from because I wanted to know what was going on. So I gave the officer the registration out of the car by opening the car, taking the key from someone else, and opening the car to give the officer access. I gave them at least 3 months of text messages where Gwendolyn Carr was paid $500 at least every month. December, she was paid twice. So how can Gwendolyn Carr assert that she gave me a car and she never heard from me the entire time, people, if I have these text message and Cash App receipts as proof we were in contact? How is it that the Richmond County DA's office refused to drop my charges? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you why. Because they're racist and biased. Black men on Staten Island cannot be victims. We can only be offenders. I want to show my audience one more thing because we're approaching an hour, but I just want you to see that I actually do have the Carr. I just can't show it, unfortunately. I have to show this another way. Let me see. Let me think real quick, people. I might have to do this another way to show you this picture. Image. There it is. Okay. As you see, people, this is the report of Gwendolyn Carr. I can't show all the contents of this report because, as you see, it contains sealed information. This report may not be made available to any person or public or private agency outside the police department. So I had to put in a FOIL. I had to put in a FOIL request for this actual police report. Which is no, actually, I filed a motion for this. I filed a motion myself to get a copy of this as the defendant. It was granted about 3 months ago. So I actually have the police report, and this is how I can tell you verbatim what Gwendolyn Carr told the police, which is that I, Clayton Howard, had taken her car. As a matter of fact, I'm going to kind of read it myself because, again, I can read it, people. I was the defendant, and this is what happened to me. I'll leave that up, actually. I think I want to leave that up because I'm going to read it from somewhere else. I'm going to read it from my personal notes. Okay, where's my notes? These are my trial. These are my case notes from my attorney. Miss Carr said that she allowed a family friend that she only knows as Clayton and his phone number to be my phone number to borrow her vehicle on December 12th of 2019. She stated that she made multiple attempts to contact me as me, the suspect, and asked me to return the vehicle, but I still had not returned the vehicle. Ms. Carr said that she filed the complaint under the wrong plate number, and that's why I wasn't arrested sooner. So, people, Gwendolyn Carr was taking money from me, but at the same time, while she was taking money from me, she lied to the police and told the police that I had stolen a car that I had been paying her for and made 4 payments in the last 3 months that totaled up to $2,000. Now, people, here's the major problem with what happened with Gwendolyn Carr. The Richmond County District Attorney's Office knew that Clayton Howard was innocent. They knew it. And this is why I have such a problem. This is why I'm fighting Mike McMahon so hard and I advocate so strongly. Because, people, I have a 5-year history of the Staten Island District Attorney's Office violating my civil rights because 3.5 of those years I had no knowledge of the law, people. So they allowed me to be maliciously prosecuted knowing that Gwendolyn Carr was lying. And from people, if she told the police she didn't know me and she tried to contact me from December 12th to February 28th and I never answered her and I refused to send the car, people, I just showed you text messages where she and I were communicating and I paid her at least 4 times $2,000 for that car. So in the eyes of the law, in the eyes of a court, in the eyes of a judge, Gwendolyn Carr is lying. Gwendolyn Carr was in a financial relationship to which there was an exchange of money for the use of the vehicle. That's not the same as you loaning somebody the key, them taking your car and not bringing it back, Miss Carr. Where's the integrity, oh mother of mercy? What about my mother had felt if these officers had went left and killed me because you lied and told the police stole your car just to get out of paying some toll bills with Easy Pass? Because that's what she did, people. Because I wouldn't pay her toll bills. She reported the car stolen so she could report the tolls off the car stolen, the Easy Pass, and not have to pay it. You sick bitch. And I'm going to say that even though I don't want to curse Gwendolyn Carr, you are a sick, disgusting, deplorable bitch. Because if you could do that to an innocent man when your son died at the hand of the police, you're a disgusted human being and you don't deserve the platform that the people have given you to represent the trauma that black men face when they are killed by the police. You're no mother of mercy. You're a mother of manipulation. You're a mother of deceit. You're a mother of lies. And God needs to hold you accountable for the wrong you did to myself and Jamal Farrow when you lied on us to the police, knowing damn well you got $2,000 for a car. People, this is not revenge. This is about exposing the truth of allegations like people like Gwen Carr put on innocent men and then try to go before cameras and make everyone think that they're just noble and honest people. How could Gwen Carr be considered honest, people, when she told a lie this bad, people? You literally, I'm reading you what happened in the report. She tells the police that she only knew me by first name. She gave me a key on the day you saw those text messages, people. You saw her tell me to come to her house to get the car. You've seen messages where she's asking me for money and I'm giving her the money, people. How am I not in contact with Gwendolyn Carr, people? The worst part about this is, people, is that the Staten Island District Attorney's Office pushed this prosecution and then used it to lock me out of resources also, and further try to imply my credibility was damaged when Francina Evans was after me. Because, see, people, when my attorney reached out to Darren Albanese, one of the first things Darren Albanese told my attorney is, oh, we know Clayton Howard from what he did to Gwendolyn Carr. So my attorney didn't know about Gwendolyn Carr, and he's kind of shocked. It was something that it weakened his argument with Darren Albany. So immediately he got off the phone. He calls me. He says, Clayton, why the fuck you didn't tell me about stealing Gwen's car? I said, what? People, naturally, I was pissed off. I said, oh, no, John, that's a lie. They know Gwendolyn Carr lied on me, but they did the same thing they doing now because my mother died and they knew I was too emotionally weak to fight the damn case. And hold on a second. I go into my computer. I sent him those text messages. I said, John, I sent him the text messages, and I sent him the investigative report sent to me by my lawyer when I was fighting the case. I said, John, I want you to read those and call me back, and you're going to owe me an apology. He hangs up. He calls me the next morning. He says, I'm sorry, Clayton. He says, I'm sorry. Gwendolyn Carr definitely lied on you about that, and the DA maliciously prosecuted you, because if you sent them that evidence, that proves you knew that woman for 3 months. Why would they ACD you? Why would they not just dismiss the charge? Because people, they want to make it look like it was actually I did something to Gwendolyn Carr. They didn't want to expose the fact that the mother of Mercy, Mike McMahon's puppet, is a liar, and that she filed a false police report to have me arrested, and her slave master, Mike McMahon, wanted to help his nigga chick out, so he was going to get the innocent black man arrested for her. Thank you, Ms. Carr, for giving me another black man to violate his rights, because that's all Gwendolyn Carr did, was give the same authority, the same institution that killed her son, the ability to harm another black man. How is Gwendolyn Carr a mother of mercy, people? How is Gwendolyn Carr even a just or honest individual after the text message I've shown you in the contents of the report that I'm reading you as the defendant of that crime? Clearly, Gwendolyn Carr is lying, people. And I think that as community activists, we have a mandate, a responsibility to expose those like Gwendolyn Carr, who are willing to violate other people's rights, but go behind the camera in the media lens and make people think that they're just and they're noble people. No, Gwendolyn Carr, you violated my rights, Gwendolyn Carr. You lied on me to police, and you subjected me to a malicious prosecution and a corrupt and racially biased system, the same system that is responsible for the murder of your son. See, people, the reason Gwendolyn Carr doesn't care about me is because she didn't give a damn about her own son. Everybody who really knows the relationship with Gwen Carr and Eric Garner knows Eric Garner did not mess with his mother. And he didn't mess with her for good reason. Because even Eric Garner knew his mother, and forgive me for saying this, might be a piece of shit, people. The only thing that happened is, unfortunately, Eric's life was taken, and Gwen saw an opportunity to get some fame because her entire life she's been a nobody, people. So she saw an opportunity to stand before the camera and accept this money and responsibility, realizing going into the charity space, people would give her more money. I don't say this to diminish the Garner family, people, because I knew Eric Garner. And honestly, when Eric Garner died, even I was hurt by that. Because again, Eric Garner was a good dude. He wasn't very successful at all. He wasn't successful at all. He wasn't very well educated. And he didn't have to be the most charismatic person, but he was genuine. And genuine gets you far in life, people. Genuine will get you a lot farther than being intelligent was, because people will like you more because they know you're sincere. And that was definitely Eric Garner. So salute to Eric Garner. But with regard to his mother, a woman who would lie to the police and have an innocent black man subjected to the same racially biased system on Staten Island that killed and totally denied her the justice for her son. Because people, you got to remember, a Richmond County grand jury declined to prosecute Detective Pantaleo. So the community and the justice system of Staten Island didn't support her. She went to the federal government. The federal government didn't support her, people. These people don't support her. They use you for votes, sister. And you so stupid, thirsty, and money hungry, you let them use you for votes by pretending to love a son you didn't even take care of. And I'm Clayton Howard, and telling you that is the man you wronged. Gwendolyn Carr wronged me, people. It's not slander if you're telling the truth. It's not defamation if you're telling the truth, people. It's not harassment if you can show that somebody lied on you to the police and got your rights and your procedure proved due rights violated for something you never did, people. What about the damage to me? What about the trauma to me, people? What about the fact that I went through this after finding my mother dead on the floor? And Gwendolyn Carr didn't care enough to drop the damn charges, knowing that I paid her $2,000. People, how is Gwendolyn Carr any better than me when she did something like that? She knew that I was the child of this woman that just dropped dead, and she still let the charges go through because she figured she had the $2,000, and now as a victim, she could hit up victim services for the tolls, or Easy Pass, she could decline the tolls by saying the car was stolen. You're a manipulative, pathological liar, Gwendolyn Carr, and you have made an enemy in Clayton Howard. As you can see, Gwendolyn Carr, I can speak very well. And as I get stronger in the advocate space, I'm going to constantly speak about you because you have become part of my story of injustice that involves the Staten Island District Attorney's Office. You are just as bad as the racist bigots in that office because you're a black woman with power who used that power to hurt another innocent black man. People, like I've told you, the greatest enemy to a black man nowadays is not a racist white man. It's a black woman with some power. Black women are the biggest enemy to their own men. And men, maybe we've done it because we've mistreated them in the way that we've treated them. I'm not going to sit here and blame it all on them. As a black man, I've been disrespectful to black women. I admit that. And that's why I've had to examine my actions and examine myself to realize, Clayton, your old way may have not been right. Even with my ex, I have a confession. And I'm going to share this with you guys before we get off. I have complicity in what happened with my ex because when we broke up, I could have been softer in the breakup, people, but I wasn't. I was hard. Listen, leave me the F alone. I don't want to deal with you. You're effing crazy. That language trying to push her away from me because she wouldn't leave me alone, that language could be considered abusive if you don't know the entire context of the situation. But the truth is, I was just trying to get her to leave me the hell alone because she was crazy and she wouldn't stop, people. But you know what I should have done? I should have blocked my number, changed everything, and just ghosted her, people. Yeah, she would have bugged out. Yeah, she would have lied on me for a while. But people, I don't even live on Staten Island. I don't give a damn what them corny niggas say. I'm going to tell you the truth. I could have kept doing me, people. My problem was I had feelings for this woman, and my feelings for this woman made me want to justify the fact that I was good to her. Love can be a trap, people. Feelings for people can be a trap because it weakens you, and you fail to do the right thing because you care about a person who don't give a damn about you. That's the most powerful lesson that I have loved in intimate partner relationship and love with women is that most of the time women don't love you for you. They love you for what you do for them. And when you don't want to do things for them anymore, that's when they turn on you and a good woman can go bad. People, you got to be careful. So this is my story about Gwendolyn Carr and how she violated my civil rights, how she lied to the police, and how the Staten Island District Attorney's Office, in an attempt to seem as though they were aiding a black woman who was wrong, maliciously prosecuted me, even though they knew I was telling the truth, and that I had paid Gwen Carr over $2,000 for a van she claimed I stole and that I had never contacted her about in 2 months of having. If I can show you text messages where Gwen Carr spoke to me multiple times in December, after December 12th of 2019, multiple times in January, after December 12th of 2019, and numerous times in February, after December 9th, December 19th, 2019. If I can show you multiple payments after December 12th, 2019. If I can provide you statements from people who bought her money after December 12th, 2019. People, who's the liar? Clayton Howard or Gwendolyn Carr, the mother of mercy? She's no mother of mercy. She's a mother of manipulation and deceit. And I, Clayton Howard, have just exposed her. On behalf of Justice and Operation Rock, people, I hope this was a very informative and respectful broadcast. I tried not to be disrespectful, people, because I don't want to dilute the message. The message is simple, people. We got to watch the advocates and the people in the community who claim they're really there for us. Because the truth is they're not. They're there for themselves. They use us because we believe that we support them and believe in them. So they use us in numbers to go before other powerful people and get favors. That's Gwendolyn Carr. That's Victor Allen Brown. And that's the corruption that is the community of Staten Island. And people, I'm not going to allow it. So again, on behalf of Operation Rock and a great mother who loved me so, this is Clayton Howard continuing to expose the truth. And we'll be back tomorrow with Jeremiah DePaz. The man who assaulted me twice in the Richmond County DA's office refused to prosecute. Even after assaulting me on the death of my mother, they didn't put an order of protection against him, and the man came to my mother's. I'll get into all that tomorrow. But this is another false arrest and malicious prosecution that has happened to me in the last 5 years at the hands of the Staten Island District Attorney's Office, people. So I'm going to show you that it's not only about Francina Evans. It's about the overall administration of Michael McMahon, because he needs to go. And I'm the one to do it. So, people, on behalf of justice, forgive the little crazy look there, people, but that was passion. I am incredibly serious. Mike McMahon needs to go. He needs to be exposed. The fake advocates in the community like Gwendolyn Carr, Malcolm Penn, Mike Perry, Bobby Digi, all them suckers need to go because they're not real people. They're using you for the power that you come and you collect. People, we got power, believe it or not, people. The real power of any state, of any government is its people. And if we come together, we are powerful. Don't come together of the one fake person, because that fake person is going to manipulate what you're trying to do. Like these advocates, like Gwen Carr, like people like this Pastor Victor Brown. They're manipulating your numbers to get favors from people who are corrupt. Nah, people, that's not justice. That's injustice. And we got to do something about that. So now I'm really going to go on behalf of Justice and Operation Rock. Thank you for watching, people. And stay tuned as we continue our series of exposing the Richmond County DA's office's corruption by the June 2020 assault of Clayton Howard at the gang assault, people, because I was assaulted by multiple people on the death of my mother. And the Richmond County DA's office refused to prosecute that gang assault and dropped the damn charges against the offender who assaulted me and disabled me for a year. People, this is about justice. It's not about vengeance. It's about exposing the corruption of Michael McMahon and the fact that his office refuses to hold itself accountable and grant black men the right to be victims. I was a victim. The Richmond County DA's office wronged me, and it is my mission to either die or succeed to expose what Mike McMahon did to me. On behalf of justice, this is Clayton. I'll see you tomorrow with what